Alright, so this is a different video than what I usually make, but you are about to watch a real conversation that I had with someone who scheduled a consultation with me, and he had a couple questions about starting a box truck business. He actually already has his CDL. He was thinking about starting a box truck business. I talked him out of that. He's going to buy a semi-truck, and I just recorded the entire conversation. You won't be able to hear what he was saying, but you'll be able to hear all of my answers. And if you want to schedule a consultation with me, the description is in the link. If you have any questions, we can do exactly what you're about to listen to for the next hour.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and
Hey, this is Zach Pasquarello. Is now still a good time to talk? Cool. So what do you have going on? Okay. So you already have your LLC, your EIN, you already got your MC number, BOC3, UCR, all that's already done. Okay, so unfortunately, so you are a CDL driver, you've driven semis in the past, but now you're trying to be a box truck driver. So unfortunately, even though you're going to be driving a non-CDL truck, the fact that you have a CDL and you're driving a commercial vehicle and you have your authority, you will need to be set up with the consortium. You will need to do the random drug test. And as far as, and I definitely recommend getting some help with compliance. So there's a million different compliance agencies out there, and some are good, some are bad, but I would recommend looking into it at least, just to get help with your new entrant safety audit and the consortium and just compliance in general. It's always good to have them a part of your team because you don't want to mess up with something like that. And then the Keep Truckin' ELD. So that's what I've seen everybody use, Keep Truckin'. I mean, there's a bunch of different ELDs out there, but I think Keep Truckin' seems to be the most popular, and you can literally just go to keeptruckin.com. Have you tried that? It is kind of weird. They do make it difficult to sign up online. So you might have to just enter in your phone number, your email address, your contact information, and you might need to wait until they email you or call you. And every time I've talked to someone from Keep Truckin', English has been kind of a barrier. I mean, they've got decent customer service, but you might be talking to someone in a different country. If I can go back in time, I for sure would have used a separate phone number when I registered for my DOT, because you're right, I got a million phone calls and a million emails from solicitors, insurance, factoring, fuel cards. It's crazy. So yeah, if I can go back in time, definitely would have used an alternate phone number, an alternate email address. But luckily, it slows down after the first couple weeks. Is there a reason why you have a CDL? Is there a reason why you're driving a box truck instead of a tractor? So you're saying your authority went active in February, but you don't even have a truck yet? Okay, so the one thing I will say is that you have 60 days basically from, it's either you have 60 days from the day that you apply or from the day that your authority gets accepted, but right around 60 days to get insurance. Otherwise, your authority basically goes into default and you're gonna have to do it all over again. So I posted a video several months ago and I kind of broke it down like 120 days, like a plan, and I outlined it exactly, like kind of what you should do in the first month, second month, third month, and fourth month. And it really all starts with getting your LLC, getting your EIN, getting your credit cards, getting your fuel cards. That's kind of phase one, and it sounds like you've already done that. I'm concerned that you applied for your authority a little bit too soon, and it might be too late already. You might have to basically redo that entire process. But, I mean, you've done a lot of work already. What I would recommend is trying to find a truck first. Like, before you even sign up for your authority again, like, don't even do it until you actually have a truck picked out. And you need to decide whether you're gonna rent or buy. And let me just say, if you're going to rent a truck, plan on spending $1,500 every single week just to rent a truck. But if you buy a truck, you're only gonna be spending $1,500 a month. So you're gonna be spending 4 times as much money to rent a truck versus if you just saved, $20,000 for a down payment and bought the truck outright. Not, when I say outright, I mean 20% for a down payment, and then get a loan for the rest of the 80%. So you're talking about building your business credit and trying to use that as a down payment to buy your second truck. But no matter what, you're still going to have to personally guarantee a loan, especially if your business is less than 2 years, and you're not going to be able to use. I'm not really sure what you mean by using your business credit as a down payment. Like, no matter what, you're still going to have to pay 20% cash down for any truck you get, no matter where you get it. No, and whenever you say credit limit, I mean, you can get a line of credit, you can get a credit card. You'll never be able to use a business credit card as a down payment. That down payment always needs to be a wire transfer, a certified check, or cash. Like, you're not going to be able to use credit as a down payment for an additional loan. What you can do is you can get a line of credit. And I did this actually. I went through Wells Fargo, and they primarily care about your personal credit score, especially if your business is less than 2 years old. So I went to Wells Fargo, and they ran a personal credit check on me. I explained my business. I told them how much revenue I have on an annual basis. And the really cool thing about our trucking company is that we have a very high number of revenue. So like, we're pulling in $5,000 to $10,000 a week, which is a lot of revenue, and that's typically what banks look for when they're giving out lines of credit. They look for accounts receivable, they look for a revenue number. And so I went to Wells Fargo and got a $20,000 line of credit with basically no questions asked. I have pretty strong credit, it's above 700, but anyone with a credit score of above 700 and a decent business model, and if you're able to kind of talk the financials of your business, you should be able to secure a pretty significant line of credit from most big banks, and then you can in turn use that as a down payment. So that line of credit, you can just essentially write yourself a check, and you will have literally $20,000 deposited into your checking account straight from the line of credit. So that's something you could do for the down payment. Yeah, so I kind of went about acquiring my 2 trucks in like a non-traditional way. The first truck, I got really lucky. I bought it last year, and I got it for $21,000, which is crazy cheap. And then I also did seller financing for that. So basically, I'm just paying $2,000 a month for that truck for 12 months, and then it's going to be mine. So I never really took out a traditional loan for that truck. And the tractor trailer that I bought, I also didn't really take out a loan to get the tractor trailer. So I pretty much just used all of the cash that I had saved up to buy those 2 trucks. I'm gonna have to use a loan for my third truck. But no matter what, so I've been in business for a year. I have a tax return with my business, so I have some financial documents to back up my business, and it's not quite as old as 2 years, but 12 months of business is still a decent amount of time. And with that information, my bank is offering me a loan for like $60,000 or $80,000 to get a truck, and it's only 5% interest. They're still always going to require 20% down, but what I really recommend, if you're really trying to get a loan, build a relationship with your local bank, your local credit union, and just have $20,000 in your business checking account, have strong financial statements, just have a really good relationship with them, prove to them that you are a legitimate business. And that is where you're going to get your best loans, your best rates. Don't try to go to these brokers on the internet, and don't try to get like these special equipment financing, because they're always going to charge you crazy interest. They're going to require like 50% down payment, especially when your business is new. Your best bet is to build that relationship with your local bank and your local credit union. And I also wanted to touch on one other thing. I'm not so sure about your idea about getting a box truck instead of a semi-truck. I bought my semi-truck for $65,000. It's 2016 International. It had 500,000 miles on it. But if you look at Penske and Ryder right now, you're almost going to spend the same amount for a 26-foot box truck. It might have 250,000 miles on it, so it'll have half as many miles on it. But as you know, a tractor can go up to 1 million miles. Like, I'm going to hopefully get 2 or 3 years out of this 2016 International, and I only spent $65,000 on it. So with you having your CDL already, like, you're still going to have to get the drug test. You already have your CDL. And I wouldn't worry so much about trying to learn the industry or learn the business as a box truck driver to try to acquire your next box truck so that you can teach your family members or your friends or your new employees how to drive. To me, that doesn't sound like a very good idea. I mean, if it's what you want to do, go for it. But I would definitely recommend get a semi-truck. There's only a couple more requirements. Like, you just need apportion plates, you need to pay a heavy vehicle use tax, you need to file IFTA. Those 3 things are honestly what scared me from getting a semi-truck in the very beginning, but they are not complicated. There's agencies out there that'll help you out with it, and it is just infinitely easier to find semi-truck loads. They pay so much better. Like, your business will thrive so much more if you get a semi-truck over a box truck. And you don't even need to buy a trailer. Like, you can run power only, or you can use JB Hunt's trailers. You're just gonna make a lot more money. It's gonna be so much easier for you. And the best way that you're gonna buy a box truck in 3 to 6 months is by saving up cash by running your tractor trailer. So if you run your tractor trailer, you will easily be able to save, $1,000, maybe $2,000 a week if you hustle, if you drive 3,000 miles a week, and if you grind for 3 months, you'll be able to save enough cash to pay a 20% down payment for your next box truck so you can continue growing your business that way. That's going to be your best bet. Heavy vehicle use tax. It's like $500 a month, and IFTA is really not complicated. All you need to know is how many miles you drove in each state, which you're going to be able to pull that straight from your ELD, and you need to know how much gas or how much diesel you bought in each state, and you'll be able to pull that straight from your fuel card. That's one of the benefits of using one fuel card. If you're using 3 or 4 different fuel cards, or if you're using your debit card or your credit card to pay for fuel at the pump, you're going to have to scramble to gather all these reports. But if you just use 1, maybe 2 fuel cards, it's just a couple clicks. You pull the reports straight from your online portal with your fuel cards, and boom, right there you have how many gallons you pumped in every single state. And those are the only 2 things you need to know to file IFTA. It's really, really easy. It's not complicated. And then the heavy vehicle use tax, HVUT. It's the IRS form is a 2290, and there's a million different websites that'll help you file it. It's like $500 a year and per truck, $500 per year per truck, and it's a very simple form, and you can just go to pretty much any website that does a 2290, and you can file it straight through the website. I did use Fuelman, and I thought they were really great. But if you're going to be driving, I recommend don't use Fuelman because they don't have the best discounts. The only reason I went with Fuelman is because they're really versatile, and I thought they were really easy to use, and I thought they were accepted by almost all. But what I found out is they were actually charging me $5 every time my drivers went to Love's, and they didn't really tell me about that extra charge. They kind of hid the $5 fee in with the total price of the fuel, so I didn't even know they were charging me for it. So Fuelman is cool because it's easy to use and a lot of major pumps accept it, but you're not going to get hardly any discount from using Fuelman. So I would recommend get with your factoring company and see, first of all, what fuel card they partner with. So I always recommend people go with RTS as the factoring company, and they partner with Pilot. So Pilot, you can get 16 cents off per gallon, and then if you pair the fuel card with the factoring company, you'll get an additional 0.5% off your factoring fees, which doesn't sound like a lot, but whenever we're talking about $10,000 a week of revenue, $500,000 a year of revenue, that 0.5% from a factoring fee really starts to add up quickly. And the other thing, I understand that Pilot and Love's typically charge more than almost any other gas station, but especially if you're going to be hiring other drivers, sometimes just keeping it simple is worth spending a couple extra pennies on a gallon of fuel because it's just really convenient for your drivers to go to Love's or to go to Pilot, especially if they're over the road. They've got the showers, they've got really good parking. So you can look into trying to find, maybe a cheaper gas station, but especially as you think about growing and scaling your business, you want to keep things simple. You want to implement the processes now, get set up with the fuel cards now that you're going to want to use in 2 to 3 years. You don't want to take shortcuts now just because it's going to save you a couple pennies, just because it's easier. I really recommend, get a strong fuel card now for whenever you have 3 to 5 drivers. It's going to make a difference. I have a staffing agency that I used to get me my driver, and they also do compliance. And as soon as we get off the phone, I can send you an email with all their contact information. That's another thing. I know obviously you want to get the box trucks for, is it your friends or your family? But there's so much more money to be made with semi-trucks. And with using a staffing agency, you can hire drivers fairly easily. I don't know if every staffing agency is as good as the one that I use, but they found me a driver in 2 weeks. I don't know. Once you start running with your semi-truck, you're going to see how much money you can make. You might think twice about buying a box truck after you start running a semi-truck, because semi-truck can make easily $3 a mile, $3.50 a mile if you're working a little extra hard to find your loads, and you won't ever deadhead more than 30 miles. Every single town has semi-truck loads available, but the box truck, sometimes you'll be deadheading 100 miles just to pick up something that's only paying $2 a mile. And the crazy thing is, box trucks really aren't that much more fuel efficient. My box truck gets 7.6 miles per gallon. My tractor gets 6.4 miles per gallon. So I'm almost paying the same in fuel. I mean, obviously you can pay a box truck driver a lot less than you can a CDL driver, but the expenses are pretty similar. And I mean, maintenance on a box truck, I mean, they're both almost the same, not the same engine, but the engines are pretty similar. Like, you're still paying for an oil change, you're still paying for belts and filters. Like, maintenance is almost just as expensive on a box truck as it is on a semi truck. 1000%. Yeah, I definitely recommend. You already have a CDL. That's the largest barrier to entry with anybody. The only reason anyone gets a box truck is because they don't have a CDL. But you already have your CDL. Also, do you already have where are you located on the East Coast? Okay. I don't know, is Easy Pass down in North Carolina? Yeah, or like the Sun Belt Pass or the Georgia Peach Pass. I don't know what's available, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The thing you put on your windshield. Yeah, I recommend get set up with an account with them and try to order a transponder, because it'll take sometimes 2 to 3 weeks for that toll transponder to come in the mail. So that's always one of the first things I recommend you do. Once you get your LLC and your EIN, your business checking account set up, that's, credit card, fuel card, and Easy Pass. Those are the 3 things that I think you should, it's kind of one of the first 3 things you should do. Also, QuickBooks. Don't forget about QuickBooks. If you haven't already, highly, highly recommend. Track all of your expenses. Like, even this consultation you signed up for right now, like, this is a business expense. This should all be flowing through your business checking account, your business credit card. This should all be reducing your income when you come time to pay your taxes. Do you already have QuickBooks? Who do you bank with? Wells Fargo? Have you contacted their loan department to see if you can get a loan? I always think you should stay away from those financing companies. Like with Penske, Ryder, with any dealership, those in-house financing companies are always going to charge you 10 to 15% and require a crazy high down payment, especially as a new business owner. What's your credit score? That's a great credit score. Still, anything above 700 and you will have no problem getting a loan, especially if you have a CDL. If you tell your bank that you're going to be the one driving the truck, I guarantee you can get a loan from Wells Fargo, from any bank. I would reach out to them and let them know your whole situation, tell them what you have going on, and see if you can't get pre-approved for something. If you go straight through your bank, you could probably get an interest rate 5-6%. And as far as a 20% down payment, I mean, do you have $20,000 cash right now that you could spend on a box truck or a tractor? That's all you need. Like, you have the money, you have the credit score, you have the business set up. Like, I think you could go out and buy a truck as soon as you find one, as soon as you get pre-approved for a loan. Like, definitely talk to Wells Fargo, reach out to their loan officer. The other option is you can reach out to other credit unions, other local banks, and you can kind of piece together small little $20,000 loans. Like, Members First is a local credit union in Pennsylvania, and I asked them if they could get me a loan for a truck, and they looked at kind of what I proposed, and they said no, but what we can do, we can give you a $20,000 cash loan at 8% interest. So I always recommend, try to save as much cash as possible. Always try to leverage credit if you can. And $20,000 cash at 8%, it's not the best rate, but if it's the difference between starting your business and not starting your business, or using up all your cash, I mean, maybe reach out to a couple local banks, local credit unions, and see if you can't kind of piece together $10,000 or $15,000, $20,000 loans. That's just kind of that's an alternative option to just getting a straight up loan for the entire value of the truck. Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Yeah, you'll be able to get a $20,000 cash loan from a local credit union at 8% interest, and then use that as a down payment to then get the loan for the entire value of the tractor. Just be careful. I mean, it's always risky taking out a loan, like financing 100% of a building or a vehicle or any asset. It's always extra risky, because at this point, like, if your truck just completely breaks down and gets totaled, you're out 100%. You don't have any cash, you don't have any equity in the truck. So it's always more risk. I mean, sometimes you have to make a big risk, especially to get started. But with you driving, I mean, it's such a good industry. As you know, you just said you're making 6 figures driving already. Like, you already know you'll be able to get your authority and get this truck rolling. You'll be able to make really good money. So I think, in my opinion, it's worth the risk, especially with you driving. If you weren't driving, like what I'm doing now is way riskier than what you're trying to do. Like, because I'm relying on other people to drive, but you're relying on yourself to drive. Yeah, so do you want to know just generally kind of how to start a trucking company, or do you want to know very specifically, like, the things you're going to need to put inside of your truck, and like the little specific things, or both? Okay, yeah, so I got it. Yeah, like I said, do you already have a business credit card? Okay, so you already have a Wells Fargo business credit card. I recommend 3 places: American Express, Chase, and Capital One. They've got really great business credit cards, and you can also definitely can get 0% interest for the first 12 months. I was able to get a $2,000 credit limit with Capital One, $8,000 credit limit with American Express and Chase, and so that's essentially right there, $18,000 of interest-free credit for 12 months. So look into those 3 credit card companies. I already mentioned the fuel card factoring company. You're gonna want to use a factoring company. They charge a lot, but like I said, you're gonna be making $10,000 a week, and brokers will not pay for 30 days. So unless you have $30,000 to $40,000 cash extra after you buy your truck to front your accounts receivable, you're gonna need to use a factoring company. RTS is a great factoring company. It's called like RTS Financial. I don't know. You can just real quick Google RTS factoring company. After we get off this call, I'll send you an email with my personal point of contact at RTS, and she'll be able to help you out. But you're definitely gonna need a factoring company. Fuel card, Easy Pass. Start looking for a truck. So commercialtrucktrader.com and truckpaper.com are 2 great websites where everyone posts their truck. I would stay away from Penske and Ryder because their trucks are going to have 700,000 miles on them. Like, try to get a truck with less than 500,000 miles on it. So have you heard of commercialtrucktrader.com? Have you heard of truckpaper.com? Okay. I prefer truckpaper.com. They have better search and filter options, but those are 2 great websites. And then also just a quick Google search, like find local dealerships in your area. Like, I bought my truck from a local dealership 5 miles down the road, and it was just really nice. I was able to go there several times throughout the process. I didn't have to worry about shipping the truck to me. So I always prefer to buy my truck from a local dealership if I can. Okay, so you're gonna buy your truck, and seriously, if your DOT number goes in default, don't renew it until you have a bill of sale for your truck. Yeah. Okay, so registration, inspection, and insurance. Your insurance, you're gonna have to spend probably close to $3,000 or $4,000 right off the bat as a down payment. So keep that in mind. And insurance is gonna be like $1,500 a month for a tractor. Your registration right off the bat is probably gonna be between $1,000 and $2,000. So there's another $2,000 that you have to budget for registration. And your apportioned plates, your IRP plates. Your dealership will be able to help you out with that. So don't stress about that. But you're gonna need to go through your Department of Transportation and get special plates for your truck, because basically your truck is fragmented registration throughout all 50 states depending on where you drive. So you have to pay each state. That's the whole point of an apportioned plate. You don't just pay the state where you live in, you pay wherever you drive. Does that make sense? I'm not sure what that is. A KYU? Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. Inspection, take your truck to a mechanic before you take it out on the road. Obviously you need a federal DOT inspection, and a lot of states have their own requirements for a state DOT inspection. Seriously plan on spending at least $2,000 for that inspection. Even though you get it from the dealership and they say it's all good to go, get connected with a local diesel mechanic who you know and trust and have them service your truck. You're gonna need to get an oil change every 25,000 miles, which will probably end up being every 2 weeks or every 2 months. I recommend really try to bring your truck to that trusted diesel mechanic every 2 months, have them do a full PM service, check all your filters, check all your fluids. But just in the beginning, for planning purposes, plan on spending anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 right off the bat. And this is worst case scenario, obviously. Maybe you only need a couple $100 in repairs, but I'd rather have $2,000 saved for repairs than... So, just those 3 things alone: registration, $2,000, inspection and maintenance, $2,000, and insurance down payment, probably closer to $3,000. Right there's $7,000 that you're gonna have to spend in the first month. And luckily, if you get the credit cards, you can put it on the credit card, but just be very careful. You don't want to spend any money on credit card interest. So just be very cognizant of those credit cards and when your 12-month 0% interest promotional period is over. But yeah, 20% down payment on the truck is, what did I say, close to $20,000, and then another $5,000 to $7,000 on registration and insurance and inspection. So we're already closer to $30,000 cash. Dispatcher. So you can dispatch your own truck, especially as a tractor. It's really not that difficult. I recommend all you need is a DAT subscription. Are you familiar with the DAT load board? Yeah, so all you need is a DAT subscription. You can dispatch yourself, or you can pay a dispatcher to do it for you. You're probably going to end up paying 6%. So, if you're making $10,000 a week, you're going to end up paying a dispatcher $600. Or what I always say, I mean, you're sitting at the shipper for 2 hours, you're sitting at the receiver for 2 hours, have a laptop with you, you can very easily just find loads while you're waiting to get loaded or unloaded. It's really not that difficult with the DAT load board. So do you want to do it yourself, or do you want to hire a dispatcher to do it for you? Do you want me to give you my dispatcher recommendation? What about insurance? Do you want me to give you my insurance company that I work with? I'll send you an email after this call with all that information. Yeah, so dispatcher, hopefully it's only 6%. I wouldn't pay much more than 6% for a semi-dispatcher. Box truck dispatcher going to charge you 10% because, like I said, it's so much more difficult to dispatch a box truck. UCR, BOC3, you already have that. Your ELD, you're going to get from Keep Truck, and it's going to be $40 a month. That's barely anything, not a big expense. I recommend getting a dash cam. And with you driving, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily get a dash cam facing inward. You don't really need that because you're going to be the one driving, but definitely get one facing outward just to protect you and your company. In the event of an accident, it's always best to have the footage. So the ELD is $40 a month, and I think the dash cam is like $30 a month. And if you go to keeptrucking.com, they'll help you out with all that. Order that sooner rather than later because it will take 3 weeks for that to come in the mail. No. So you don't need a pallet jack, which is nice. You do need a pallet jack if you're getting a box truck. You don't need a pallet jack with a tractor. You will need door magnets with your DOT number, your company name, DOT number, and MC number. I see people all the time like go get these fancy logos and these fancy decals, and they put them on their truck, and then they end up going out of business in 2 weeks, and then it's a real pain to scrape the decals off. I went to just a local sign making company. I got 2 door magnets, white magnets with black letters, very basic, and I spent $60 total for 2 magnets. The letters were like 2, maybe 2.5 inches tall. I mean, you can do something crazy and spend $300, but just getting started, I recommend just keep it simple. It's so nice to be able to pull the magnets if you get another truck or if you get a new truck. It's so nice to be able to pull the magnets off and put them on. $60, or you can, get a crazy logo and spend $300. But I think just get the simple white magnet, black letters, 2 inches tall, company name, DOT number, and MC number. That's all you need. The truck should come with a fire extinguisher, but if not, you obviously need a fire extinguisher. You need to have a first aid kit. You can get one for like $15-20 from Amazon. I would get ratchet straps and get the ones that have like a 10,000 pound breaking point. Get some ratchet straps. I haven't necessarily needed to use them with my tractor, but it's always nice to have some ratchet straps. If you get a box truck, you definitely need the ratchet straps. And then I have like some miscellaneous things. Your truck should come with a mattress, but you can get one for like $150 on Amazon if you want to get a new mattress. Your truck should come with a fridge. It probably won't come with a microwave, but you can put a microwave in there if you want. Triangles, obviously make sure your truck has triangles. I would not get flares because some states like don't even allow flares, and they only last for like 30 minutes. And if it's, you don't need flares, just use the triangles. I don't know how you're going to do GPS, but you have like 3 or 4 different options. You can get Rand McNally has a nice GPS. Garmin has a good GPS. What I do is I have an iPad, and I downloaded an app called Trucker Path. The iPad is nice because my driver also uses it for his Keep Truck and ELD, and he uses it to take pictures of his BOL, and he can send that to my dispatcher. But if you're not worried about that, then you can just get like a very basic Garmin for like $300, 5-inch screen. I mean, you've been a truck driver for 4 years. You probably already know what kind of GPS you like. Make sure the truck has an APU. Are you familiar with that? Do I need to explain an APU? Yeah, with an APU, your engine will hopefully last a lot longer. You won't have to idle all night. So yeah, definitely. And an APU is expensive. It costs like $10,000 to get an APU installed. So try to get a truck with an APU already. IFTA, we've already talked about IFTA. Obviously, you know this as a truck driver, you need to have paper logs. So you can get, just as backup, like, spend $15-20 for paper logs. And then just really basic stuff like flashlight, tire chains, just small hand tools, pen and paper, folder and binder. That's just really basic stuff, but you already know that because you are a driver. I mean, that's pretty much all I have on my list of things to do. What questions do you have? What did I go over too quickly? Anything not make sense? Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, you can use use the same company, same QuickBooks, same checking account, same everything. Yeah, I mean, I did it all already, so, you don't know what you don't know, the classic statement. But it's really not complicated. All the information is out there. There are people out there that'll help you for free, typically, like the people from the insurance company, the factoring company. For IFTA, like the person, like I literally had someone from my Department of Revenue call me. It was a field agent. And he was like, hey, if you ever have any questions about IFTA, like feel free to reach out. Here's my direct cell phone number. So there are people out there that will help you. Like you're not doing this alone. There's a bunch of different agencies that will help. So if you ever have a question, if you ever feel overwhelmed, just know that we are out here to help. Yeah, we charge $350 to do taxes, just a one-time fee. And then if you want bookkeeping, we charge $200 a month for bookkeeping. You're only going to file your taxes once a year, but I do recommend pay quarterly taxes. And with this being your first year in business, your best bet, just pay quarterly taxes this year based on your 2021 tax liability. So however much money you paid in federal income taxes in 2021, take that number, divide it by 4, and pay quarterly taxes on that. Once you stop working, if you're still working, then you're still paying your taxes through your W-2, through your payroll company. So don't worry about quarterly taxes until you quit your job and start working for yourself. Yeah, if you have simple questions that can be answered through email, feel free to send me an email, but if you want to set up another 30-minute meeting or a 60-minute meeting, you can use the same link and schedule a consultation anytime. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk to you later.